LisaRaye McCoy isn't taking back a single word. She is officially doubling down, standing her ground, and refusing to back down from her public claims about her sister Brat's wife, Jessica Judy Harris Depart. The public fissure first exploded on live television during Fox Soul's Cocktails with Queens, when Brat made an unannounced birthday appearance, only for LisaRaye to unleash live on air, confronting her sister for months of complete radio silence after finding out about Brat's relationship through blogs. That fracture turned into an outright wall during WeTV's Brat Loves Judy, when Brat and Judy announced they were expanding their family, and LisaRaye once again went on record revealing she found out about her own sister's pregnancy on Instagram alongside 5 million strangers. LisaRaye didn't stop at hurt feelings. She openly targeted Judy, the multimillionaire CEO behind the $35 million Kaleidoscope hair products empire, claiming Judy has systematically controlled Brat, dictated her family access, and driven a wedge directly through their sibling bond. But while LisaRaye continues to hold her ground, Brat finally broke her silence. Dropping her quiet stance on the Ricky Smiley morning show and WeTV press circuits, Brat addressed the public back and forth directly, demanding that family business stop being weaponized in press interviews and drawing an absolute line in the sand, making it clear that her ultimate loyalty sits with her wife and their son True, not with public family feuds. What are the exact receipts, the timeline of breakdown, and the cold hard facts behind this point of no return? Let's lay out the entire timeline line by line. The public breakdown between LisaRaye McCoy and Brat didn't begin overnight. It was built on a series of documented, televised events where private family communication collapsed in real time. To understand why LisaRaye remains firm today, you have to look at September 2020 on Fox Soul's Cocktails with Queens. LisaRaye was celebrating her birthday live on air alongside her co-hosts Vivica A. Fox, Claudia Jordan, and Selena Johnson. Without prior notice to LisaRaye, the producers brought Brat onto the video call as a surprise guest to extend birthday wishes. What was meant to be a heartwarming televised reunion instantly turned hostile. Instead of accepting the surprise, LisaRaye's face hardened on live stream. She openly stopped the producers and confronted Brat right then and there. LisaRaye stated directly on camera that she hadn't heard from her sister in months, pointing out that Brat was texting and interacting with her co-host Selena Johnson while completely ignoring her own blood sister. Brat tried to soften the moment on air, explaining that she had been trapped in her own head, dealing with personal issues, and working through heavy life shifts. But LisaRaye cut through the excuses. She told Brat plainly, "I reached out to you. I called you, I texted you, and I didn't get anything back." That broadcast proved to millions of viewers that the line of communication between the sisters had officially snapped. The catalyst behind that sudden silence was no secret to anyone paying attention to the timeline. Brat had recently gone public with her relationship with Jessica Judy Harris Depart, the powerhouse CEO behind Kaleidoscope. Up until that point, Brat had kept her personal life fiercely private for over 2 decades in the hip-hop industry under So Def. When Brat came out publicly and went official with Judy in March 2020, the dynamic shifted instantly. While fans celebrated Brat's newfound freedom and happiness, LisaRaye made it clear on public platforms that she was being left in the dark about major developments in her sister's life. LisaRaye didn't learn about the depth of the relationship through private family phone calls. She was reading about it on blogs like The Shade Room alongside the general public. The tension escalated further when WeTV greenlit the reality series Brat Loves Judy. The show pulled back the curtain on Brat and Judy's lavish lifestyle, business ventures, and personal life, turning their relationship into a national television franchise. But as the show gained traction, the distance between the sisters widened into a canyon. During subsequent interviews promoting her own projects, LisaRaye began voicing her concerns about Judy's role in Brat's life. She publicly questioned whether Judy was pulling Brat away from her core family, suggesting that the sudden wall between the sisters was a direct result of Judy's presence and influence. The boiling point reached an absolute peak during the couple's pregnancy announcement. In early 2023, Brat and Judy announced to the world that they were expecting a baby boy through IVF. It was a massive, joyous moment covered by major national media outlets from People magazine to Bet. Yet, during a follow-up commentary segment, LisaRaye dropped a bombshell statement that shocked the audience. She explicitly stated on record that no one in the family received a private call or heads up before the social media blast went live. LisaRaye expressed deep hurt, pointing out that being forced to learn major life milestones through a social media feed, while the rest of the world watched, was the ultimate disrespect to a lifelong sibling bond. Judy, however, was not standing by idly while her name and marriage were dragged into public commentary. On Brat Loves Judy camera green screens, Judy fired back directly, stating, "Brat should look her sister in the eyes and tell her how that's hurt her f***ing feelings." Judy emphasized that boundaries had to be established. The core issue wasn't about shutting family out. It was about protecting their new household, their peace, and their mental space as they built a business empire and prepared to bring a new child into the world. When their son, true legend Harris Depart, was born in July 2023, the divide was officially locked in place. The reality was undeniable. Brat had created a brand new immediate family unit with Judy, and her primary obligation was now to her wife and newborn son. Instead of the birth bringing the sisters back together, the silence only grew heavier. LisaRaye insisted that she refused to fake a relationship for television cameras or pretend that everything was fine when fundamental respect was missing. That brings us directly to LisaRaye's latest stance. Rather than letting the issue fade away with time, she reaffirmed her original assessments regarding Judy's alleged influence, refusing to retract her words. LisaRaye maintains that her comments never came from malice or jealousy, but from genuine sisterly concern over how fast Brat's inner circle was restructured. But this refusal to let the issue rest set off a final trigger that forced Brat to break her silence. When LisaRaye McCoy sat down for her subsequent press appearances, the expectation was that time would have softened her stance. Instead, she stood firm on her core assertions. LisaRaye made it unequivocally clear on record that her assessments of Judy were not emotional outbursts, but calculated observations of a complete family dynamic shift. She publicly reasserted that Judy's entry into Brat's life didn't just introduce a partner, it introduced a gatekeeper. The core of LisaRaye's claim rests on the dramatic transformation in how Brat operates. For over 25 years, Brat maintained a tight-knit circle and a fiercely guarded private life. But after aligning with Judy, who built her empire off relentless social media marketing, personal branding, and constant content creation, Brat's entire lifestyle was televised, monetized, and broadcast across multi-platform networks. LisaRaye pointed directly to this shift, raising public concern that her sister was being systematically detached from her original support systems. In her commentary, LisaRaye highlighted how access to Brat seemed to require going through Judy's corporate and personal infrastructure first. To LisaRaye, this wasn't just a spouse setting healthy marital boundaries. It was the deliberate creation of a wall designed to isolate Brat from the people who knew her before the wealth, the reality TV contracts, and the commercial rebranding. Public reaction to LisaRaye's relentless stance immediately split down the middle. One faction of longtime followers applauded LisaRaye for refusing to play politically correct games for the media, viewing her public callouts as an act of tough sisterly love. They argued that when an outside force disrupts a lifelong blood bond, a big sister has a duty to speak up regardless of the public discomfort it creates. On the other side, an equally vocal public contingent began calling out LisaRaye's timing and motives. Critics pointed out that Judy came into the relationship as a self-made mogul, managing a massive distribution line, physical warehouses, and thousands of brand ambassadors. From their perspective, Judy brought financial structure, stability, and high-level business expansion to Brat's world, rather than malicious intent. They questioned why LisaRaye continued to air family disputes on press circuits instead of handling them in private mediation. The controversy deepened when media outlets began analyzing the contractual timeline of WeTV's Brat Loves Judy. Reality television thrives on interpersonal conflict, and the ongoing estrangement between the sisters became an unspoken backdrop to the show's entire narrative arc. Public observers noted the glaring absence of LisaRaye from major televised family milestones on the series, including the grand wedding production and the intimate baby shower events. LisaRaye addressed those absences directly, confirming she was neither involved nor interested in appearing on camera to perform fake family unity for a television paycheck. She stressed that if she couldn't have an authentic, direct, unmediated relationship with her sister off camera, she would not participate in a produced storyline on camera. This public refusal to comply with the televised narrative further solidified the divide between both camps. Meanwhile, industry insiders and commentary networks began dissecting the broader psychological impact of the feud. The conflict ceased to be a simple sibling argument. It became a national case study on the collision between blood relatives and modern marriage dynamics. Blog networks dissected every single interview clip, analyzing LisaRaye's facial expressions, tone, and specific phrasing whenever Judy's name was brought up. Despite the intense scrutiny and mounting public pressure to back off, LisaRaye refused to issue a retraction. She explicitly stated that she has no reason to apologize for speaking her truth, maintaining that her loyalty to her sister remains intact, even if her sister's current lifestyle leaves no room for her. LisaRaye's position made one thing glaringly obvious: she was not going to let the narrative be swept under the rug. The public silence from Brat's camp during this intense press run only heightened the drama. Viewers and commentators were left waiting, wondering how long Brat could remain passive while her wife and her marriage were continuously put on trial across national media platforms. After months of calculated restraint, the silence finally crumbled. Brat stopped letting the narrative spin without her input and stepped directly into the public arena to address her sister's claims once and for all. The quiet approach was officially retired, and what followed was a definitive response that permanently shifted the trajectory of this family dispute. For years, Brat had taken the high road during public interviews, consistently de-escalating questions about LisaRaye on red carpets and press runs. But as LisaRaye's claims gained fresh traction across digital platforms, Brat reached her breaking point. In her official public statements, Brat addressed the situation head-on, delivering a clear and unequivocal defense of her wife. Brat explicitly shut down the narrative that she was being manipulated, isolated, or controlled by her spouse. She publicly clarified that every decision made within her household, from their business moves to their family boundaries, was made jointly as a married couple. Furthermore, Brat directly challenged the idea that family drama should be broadcast to the press for public consumption. She went on record stating plainly, "I feel like we should handle our personal stuff or any questions that we have for each other amongst each other." She emphasized that true sisterhood and genuine concern are communicated privately through direct phone calls, not weaponized on podcast circuits and talk show interviews. By publicly setting this firm boundary, Brat made it undeniably clear that her immediate family, her wife Judy and their young son True Legend, is her primary protection protocol. The moment Brat's direct statements hit the internet, blog networks exploded with commentary, causing a massive split across social media demographics. The comment sections across platforms like the Shade Room and YouTube turned into a virtual war zone over modern relationship dynamics. One segment of the audience backed Brat unconditionally. They argued that once an individual gets married and starts a family, their spouse and children become their top priority. To this group, Brat wasn't abandoning her blood sister. She was simply protecting her home from external chaos and public disrespect. They labeled LisaRaye's continuous commentary as boundary crossing, asserting that no partner should have to tolerate public attacks from their in-laws under the guise of sisterly love. Conversely, a vocal contingent of longtime fans rallied behind LisaRaye. This side argued that blood runs deeper than any reality TV contract or business partnership. They speculated that Brat was so swept up in the high-profile lifestyle and corporate branding of the Kaleidoscope empire that she was blind to how far she had drifted from her roots. Online sleuths began cross-referencing past interview clips, pointing to subtle changes in Brat's public demeanor as supposed proof that her inner circle had been fundamentally altered. Within the entertainment industry, veteran commentators and media personalities began weighing in on the fallout. The consensus among industry insiders shifted rapidly. This was no longer a temporary sibling spat that could be resolved with a quick private conversation. The public line had been drawn too deep in the sand. Observers noted the stark contrast in how both women navigate public conflict. LisaRaye, known for her unapologetic, direct, and raw commentary style, uses public platforms as her outlet. Brat, historically protective of her private life, was forced into a public defensive stance to shield her marriage. Industry experts highlighted that when personal family grievances are repeatedly aired for digital views, financial monetization, and media headlines, The path to authentic reconciliation is almost entirely destroyed. The timeline shift was absolute. Brat's public response signaled the end of an era where she would remain passive while her spouse was publicly criticized. By standing firmly alongside Judy and demanding an end to the public commentary, Brat essentially closed the door on the old dynamic. The consequences were clear, immediate, and irreversible. The sisterhood as the public once knew it was officially over, replaced by an unbreakable line between blood loyalty and marital devotion. At this point, the line in the sand isn't just drawn, it's carved in stone. On one side, you have LisaRaye McCoy, holding firm on her claims, refusing to back down, and insisting she's speaking out of pure sisterly love. On the other side, you have Brat and Jessica Judy Depart standing united, enforcing hard boundaries, and making it clear that their household, their marriage, and their son True come before public family feuds. This isn't just a basic celebrity disagreement anymore. It's an absolute clash between lifelong blood ties and modern marital loyalty. LisaRaye says she's keeping it real, while Brat says she's keeping her peace. But with both sisters refusing to take a single step backward, the ultimate question remains. Is this sisterhood fractured beyond repair, or will a private conversation ever happen away from the cameras? Now, I want to hear from you. When you get married and start your own family, does your spouse always come first, even if your blood sister claims she's just trying to protect you? Who do you think is in the right here, LisaRaye or Brat? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this debate is far from over. If you want the absolute realist breakdowns on the biggest stories in pop culture, smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned, because the moment another statement drops or the next move is made in this family standoff, you already know we'll be right here to break down the receipts.